Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and it's list time again, yay! This time we're doing 8 Stargate characters we still wish had their own spin-offs. This is according to Screen Rant, it's not my own list this time. So we're going to be having a look at a Stargate list, yay! Anywho, so before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Hit the super chats, not super chat, super thanks and all that stuff. Throw some money my way. Become a member. Where you'll see exclusives and early access stuff and all that jazz. I've also got a Patreon page where you can see also exclusives and early access stuff, and I've got a merch page where you can buy t-shirts and stuff like that. There's links in the description. There's also the store tab on YouTube you can check out. Right, so let's get on with this list, shall we? So here we go. Right, let me add it. Here we go, there it is. 8 Stargate characters we still wish had their own spin-offs. What do they mean still wish? I don't know, but anyway. And there's Stephen Caldwell. I forgot the name of the bloody actor now. I've met him as well, got his autograph. Nice fella. Mitch Pileggi, is that how you pronounce it? Don't know, but anyway. By Angel Shaw. This is an old article from April, but you know, what the heck, it's still relevant. Because we all miss Stargate, don't we? We all want a bit of Stargate in our lives. Well, I do anyway. Right, the Stargate franchise has had several great spin-offs, but there are some characters with the potential to lead their own series that never got a chance. Of course, between Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis and Stargate Universe, and more, Stargate Infinity, Stargate Origins, virtually all in the movie, virtually all protagonists had the opportunity to lead out an episode or two, and each had their own exciting plot lines and character arcs. Still, for some of these Stargate characters, why is for capitalised? Never mind. For some of these Stargate characters, it has always felt like they could have been taken further. That's the same, really, with any series, though, isn't it? Where you've got like an ensemble cast, of memorable characters. We all want to see a Shran series from Enterprise, don't we? Star Trek Enterprise, and whatever Harry Kim got up to after they got home from Voyager. We want to see a Harry Kim series. Well, I do. Anyway, the science fiction franchise got its start in the 1994 movie Stargate, starring Kurt Russell as Jack O'Neill and James Spader as Daniel Jackson. From there, Stargate SG-1 was born, with Richard Dean Anderson and Michael Shanks replacing their respective predecessors. Of course, this wasn't the end. The spin-off series Stargate Atlantis began in 2004. Atlantis, what's the diagnostics page there going? Anyway, exploring the further reaches of this sci-fi reality. 2009 saw the first season of Stargate Universe, and the web series Stargate Origins arrived in 2018. Overall, there's a lot to enjoy in the Stargate franchise, but we still want more. Right, off we go with the list. Number 8, Stephen Caldwell, Colonel Stephen Caldwell, and the crew of the Daedalus. Or is it Daedalus? Daedalus. From Stargate Atlantis, obviously. Oh, we've got some pictures to look at. There he is, Mitch Pileggi at Stephen Caldwell. Bit hot and cold with him. Sometimes he's amazing, sometimes he's a bit of a dick, innit? Like real life, I suppose. There he is. It often comes in and saves the day, but then he can be a bit of a knobhead straight away, can't he? But anyway, sometimes his ambition, at the beginning anyway, when we first met him, sometimes his ambition got in the way, didn't it? He was a political beast, but he mellowed, I suppose, didn't he? He ended up being nicer than the captain of the Apollo, or the commander of the Apollo. They have colonels in charge of the starships in Stargate, didn't they? I can't remember the name of the commander of the Apollo, but he wasn't nice, was he? But anyway. It's just pictures of Mitch Pileggi, isn't it? Anyway, there we go. Anyway, so Stephen, I thought they might have shown some pictures of the crew of the Daedalus. You know, obviously not the Asgard fella who knocked about with them for a while, whose name I've forgotten because I'm an idiot. And I can't remember the name of any of the crew now. Oh, what am I like? Oh, they had the hiccups. And others. Anywho, that's what happens when you don't prepare for a video, you know. You just find a link, you think, oh, that'll be interesting for a list, let's have a look at that. start recording at 25 past 11 at night, which is what it is now. So my son will probably wake up in a minute. So what's all that noise? Me doing a video. Never mind. Right, Stephen Caldwell only appeared in 22 of Stargate Atlantis' 100 episodes. That's not a bad ratio for for a guest star. Like in 1 in 5 of the episodes, wasn't it? Which is not bad. But he certainly left a mark. He was the commander of the Daedalus, a ship made by the United States military to serve as a means of transport between Earth and the Atlantis. The Atlantis. The Daedalus comes equipped with Asgard technology, including shields and weapons, making it a pretty serious piece of machinery. It's for precisely this reason, combined with Caldwell's unique character, that a Daedalus spin-off has been so highly requested. Has it? If you say so, Angel. By the way, Angel, another Stargate reference. Vanessa Angel played a Toker, didn't she? Anyway, as one of the military personalities of Stargate, rather than the brainy scientists, Caldwell came off a little rough around the edges at first. However, as time went on, it became clear that there was far more to his character than ambition and the desire to fight. See how we're right, you see. Sometimes my opinions and stuff like that are accurate. The Daedalus commander was extremely brave and willing to lay down his life without a second thought to save the planet. Unfortunately, Caldwell stopped appearing in the Stargate Atlantis series as frequently, but this means there is a lot of unaccounted for time aboard the Daedalus that could be explored in a spin-off. Yes, it could. One of the best scenes in Stargate Atlantis when he had Colonel Carter, Colonel Caldwell, Colonel Shepard, and I think there was the Colonel from the Apollo as well, and Rodney, and they're all going Colonel, 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 and Rodney was like, "What? Are you serious?" That was funny, wasn't that? Right, number 7, Teal'c and the Jafar. I'll try and find the link. I'll try and find the video for that scene, and I'll put it there.
Colonel? Colonel?
Colonels?
Colonel? Colonels.
What, seriously? Good.
Maybe. Or probably not. Anyway, number 7, Teal'c and the Jafar from Stargate SG-1. And there's Teal'c with his staff weapon. And there he is with Daniel Jackson doing his meditation. Kalnori, no, is it Kalnoreem? Something like that, isn't it? There's Master Braytak. Tony Amendola, and there's Teal'c again, and there's Teal'c again with hair. Hey Teal'c, what's with the hair? Anywho, as one of the original team members of SG-1, Teal'c got plenty of screen time. His character arc in Stargate SG-1 was among the more intriguing, since he had a personal vendetta against the Goa'uld that surpassed that of his teammates. Ultimately, it was satisfying to see Teal'c lead his people to freedom and aid in the establishment of the Free Jafar Nation, and the bond he developed with each of his team members was among the more touching aspects of the sci-fi series. I always like the way it's called O'Neill. O'Neill were in charge. He called Colonel and all that. It was just O'Neill. It was Daniel Jackson. Always tell his full name, and then they were always like Captain Carter, Major Carter, Colonel Carter. Always called her by her rank, didn't he? Anyway, Vala Maldoran. It was weird, wasn't it? In that way, where he just. I suppose O'Neill was his best friend, I suppose, really. That's why I just called him O'Neill and he called him Colonel. But anyway. Whatever, as satisfying as Teal'c's character arc was in Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, and the spin-off movies, we're in Stargate Atlantis in the episode Midway, which is probably my favourite episode. Maybe in all of Stargate. I really like Midway. Even though I'm not a Ronan fan, but that was a good episode. And the spin-off movies, it still doesn't feel like enough. The stoic Jafar served as the emotional motivator and the comedic relief of the series, and his literal way of thinking made him downright lovable. He should have been in more. He should have been in Stargate Atlantis more, because he was the Worf of Stargate, wasn't he, really, when all's said and done. Therefore, it would have been great to see a spin-off series that took Teal'c's character further. The show could have dived into his continued work as a leader with a spattering of flashbacks to his past as well. Yes, because he was ashamed of his past, and he'll never. He said to the alright fella, Vala's husband, Tomin told him, didn't he, that he did horrific things in the service of the Goa'uld, and he'll never forget and he'll never forgive himself for what he did in their name. But anyway, so that'd be interesting to explore a little bit more. Number 6, a sci-fi medical drama with Dr. Janet Fraser. Obviously not the one from our universe, because she popped her clogs, didn't she? But we did see one from another universe, so they could use that, couldn't they? Anyway, and there she is, the lovely Terrell Rothery. Probably mispronouncing that. As Doc Fraser. That's the episode she died in. Spoilers if you haven't watched it. It's the episode. It's the two-parter, isn't it? The one where she dies, where I forgot his name. Him that played the baddie in Star Trek TNG, the most toys. I've forgotten his name. He was doing a film, wasn't he, about the SGC. Anyway, anywho, there's what's he showing him for? that's not Doc Fraser. That's Doc. What's his face from Atlantis? There he is again. Maybe it'll talk about him. I'm always forgetting his name. I'm sure they'll mention him in a minute. Dr. Janet Fraser's death was absolutely heartbreaking in Stargate SG-1. Yes, it was. It was one of those moments that no one saw coming. And it was a big surprise. And has left a bitter feeling even all these years later. And they killed him as well, didn't they? Spoilers. Although he came back. Though not among the major characters of the series, Dr. Fraser was a key figure at the SGC. Stargate Command, if you didn't know, proving herself time and time again as she dutifully saved the lives of the members of SG-1 and the other SG teams, obviously. Of course she cared for the other teams as well, but we never saw much of this in Stargate SG-1. Well, yeah, all the other teams were essentially just backing up SG-1, really, weren't they? For the most part. It'd be nice to see other adventures of other Stargate teams, wouldn't it? But anyway, even though Dr. Fraser died in Stargate, it would have been interesting to see her lead out a sci-fi medical drama spin-off series. It would, of course, have been set before the character's death, but it would also be but it would explore all the interesting medical cases we never got to see, thus keeping Fraser alive in a way. To make this prospective spin-off even better, other Doctor characters from the franchise, like Carson Beckett, I can never remember his name. I don't know why, because I'm an idiot, could have made some appearances. No, Stargate SG-1's available to stream on Pluto TV. Probably in America. Not here, it ain't. Our Pluto TV is rubbish. It's basically Anaconda versus... stuff like that, Anaconda versus... Sharknado and stuff like that. That's all we get on our Pluto TV. And Mystery Science Theatre 3000, that's the best thing on it. Anywho, number 5, Cadet Jennifer Haley and a new SG-1. Yes, that's it. I think she appeared a couple of times, didn't she, in SG-1. It'd be nice to see more of a character, because she had potential, didn't she? But here we are, there she is. Oh, is that it? Just 2 pictures? Anyway, whatever. She reminds me of another actress, and I can't sort of place who she reminds me of. Don't know. Team SG-1 evolved over the years, and Stargate SG-1 and somewhat Stargate Atlantis explored what this looked like. However, after this flagship series wrapped up after season 10, it would have been interesting to get a spin-off that explored the next generation of SG-1. Maybe they could call it Stargate The Next Generation. Though Samantha Carter, Jack O'Neill, Daniel Jackson and Teal'c eventually moved on from their first SGC team, another character from Stargate SG-1 could have stepped in to lead the way. Well, they kind of did that in seasons 8, 9 and 10, didn't they? Even though... because that was the plan, wasn't it? Cameron Mitchell was supposed to assemble his own SG-1 team, but he wanted the old team, didn't he? He wanted to lead Teal'c and Carter and Jackson, which he ended up doing. But the original plan was to create a new SG-1, which would have been interesting. I think it would, but anyway. Cadet Jennifer Haley was introduced in Stargate SG-1 Season 4, Episode 19, Prodigy, when Samantha Carter took the clever young girl under her wing. Haley was hot-tempered and eager to prove herself, but with some guidance from a fellow military genius, she ultimately found her way, returning in Stargate SG-1 Season 10 as a fully capable science officer. It seems only fitting that she and some other youngsters would continue SG-1's legacy, and it would have meant the perfect continued series. Well, not particularly her, but, you know, but a new SG-1, as I said, like Stargate, the next generation, would be nice. And yeah, stick her in, if not in command of it, in the Samantha Carter role. Anyway, number 4, Ageria in the Tok'ra prequel. I mean, we like the Tok'ra, don't we, for the most part, because they're on our side, but, you know, I wouldn't want to see an entire series about them, to be completely honest. I'd be more interested in a Goa'uld series. That'd be more interesting, wouldn't it? You know, in like a Game of Thrones sort of series about the Goa'uld and all their backstabbing and all that stuff that they get up to. Anyway, here with her, there she is, Ageria, who was she was the queen, the Tok'ra queen, wasn't she? In that she laid, spawned the larva that all became the Tok'ra, didn't she? And there she is in Goa'uld form, so to speak. Hey, and there's more Tok'ra. There we go. Oh, and look, Sarah Douglas. Don't ask me the character name, but the actor. You know, is it Carmen Argenziano as Jacob Carter. Don't ask me the name of his symbiote. It was sad to spoilers. It was sad to see him die as well. But anyway, anywho, off we go. Ageria was a minor character in Stargate SG-1 and was discussed far more than she was seen on screen. However, her actions centuries before the SGC existed significantly impacted the events of the sci-fi series. Ageria was a Goa'uld system lord who opposed her fellows' tendency to enslave humans and forcefully take them as hosts, so she ran away and produced spawn that lacked the Goa'uld's aggression and lack of empathy. As such, Ageria was the mother of all the Tok'ra. The Tok'ra was one of the alien species of Stargate that were always a joy to see take part in episodes. Sometimes they're a bit aloof, aren't they, some of them? Because they are Goa'uld after all. Well, they've got Goa'uld in them, so even if they're goody Goa'uld, they're still a bit snotty, aren't they? And aloof. If not bad guys, you know. But, anyway, there's something disturbing yet fascinating about the way they live in harmony with their hosts, a bit like the Trill in Star Trek, creating a bond that is supposed to be unlike anything a typical human would ever experience. For this reason, it would be interesting to see a Stargate spin-off series that centres around their past and evolution, especially if it explored what made Ageria different from the other Goa'uld and how everything went down when she defected. Yeah, no, not one about her particularly, but a series, like I said, like a Game of Thrones style series about the Goa'uld, and they could have her in it, but not as the main character. I don't know who you'd have as the main character, because you've got to have a main character, haven't you? Maybe start off with Goa'uld. They could have the first Goa'uld being called Menez or something like that. I don't know if there is one. The first Goa'uld, I don't know, but Menez was the first Egyptian pharaoh. As it was essentially the Scorpion. I think it was Scorpion King wanted the Scorpion was Menez. I think it was Menez. Anyway, whatever. I'm just making things up now. But anyway, right. But that'd be interesting, rather than just a series about the Tok'ra. A series about the whole of the Goa'uld Empire. Anyway, number 3, Daniel Jackson in an alternate reality. And there he is, looking confused. There he is again, looking stoic. There he is again, looking concerned with his floppy hat on. And there he is, just looking, with a gun. What kind of archaeologist carries a gun? Excuse me. And there's the same picture, but spliced with another one of him, I don't know, doing something. And there he is again. Right. Though Jack O'Neill can typically be considered the central protagonist of Stargate SG-1, Daniel Jackson is a close second. Therefore, a great many episodes are dedicated to his character. His genius often got him into mind-bendingly sticky situations that were precisely the sort of flavour expected from a science fiction series. Daniel Jackson died and came back to life in Stargate many times. Well, so did Jack, because Baal kept killing him and bringing him back to life, didn't he? Ascended, returned, and started alternate timelines, and saved the world again and again. In all, this means the perfect opportunity to give the character a whole new plot line. Daniel Jackson was never much of a military man, so the primary appeal of a Stargate spin-off that features his character in the lead role would be a sci-fi that moves away from this premise. Perhaps the series could pick up with Daniel still living on Abydos, and maybe he would be taken by the Goa'uld instead of Share with his wife, or Skara, who was Share's brother. It would be an interesting twist that would result in a brand new adventure. Unfortunately, said that how it's spelled. Unfortunately, all these years after Stargate SG-1's 10th and final season, it's unlikely ever to happen. Well, yeah, none of these are likely ever to happen, Angel. But yeah, whatever. Not really. I mean, they could do a series about him hopping realities, or they could have some sort of. They could have like a limited series. Where he uses the I forgot what they call it now, that mirror thing, where it hops to the realities in that mirror. I forgot what they call it now. Quantum mirror, I think it was called that, wasn't it? Something like that. So that'd be interesting. If they could think of a good premise for him to keep doing this. Maybe he's lost something. Something happens in an alternate timeline. He's got to fix it. Or something's happening in our timeline he's got to fix. A bit like what happened in Stargate, because he went to another timeline, didn't he? Through the quantum mirror, and saw what were happening there, even though it was a different timeline to ours. But I suppose it was close enough for him to realise that it was going to happen in our timeline, probably. So he went back to our timeline and with information that would be useful to us. So they could have something along them lines, couldn't they? Anyway. Right, number 2, Ronan Dex in an action comedy. Oh, for Christ's sake, why? It's going to be in flaming Minecraft movie, in comedic form by the looks of it. I'm not a fan of Jason Momoa, I must admit, and I'm not a fan of Ronan Dex, although I do like the Midway episode. Anyway, let's look at the picture, I suppose. There he is, Ronan Dex. People said they can't tell what I'm saying. You need subtitles with this bugger, I tell you. There he is, blah blah blah. And originally there were his own dreadlocks, but he ended up having his hair cut, and he wore wigs for the rest of the seasons. I think maybe just the first season he were in. I could be wrong, but his dreadlocks didn't last, so they ended up having to wear a wig. Anyway, though the time for most Stargate spin-offs based on past characters has come and gone, a sci-fi series starring Stargate Atlantis' Ronan Dex, they can't afford him now, could still become a reality. The character was portrayed by Jason Momoa. Do you mean Momoa? It's M-O-M, not Mamo, for God's sake. Angel. Given the actor's increased fame, a spin-off series with him at the helm could be a massive success. Yes, his increased fame and the price of his autographs. I think I went to a convention once and he was there, and I didn't get his autographs. As I said, I'm not a big Ronan fan. I think his autographs was like 20 quid or whatever, something like that. What the rest of the cast essentially were, about 20 pounds ish. And then he were in Game of Thrones and the other stuff he were in. They were in the Conan film. They were in something else as well. Oh, Aquaman, of course, Aquaman. And suddenly his autographs, they were like, 100 quid plus. Greedy buggers. Anyway, what's more, there's a great deal about Ronan that Stargate Atlantis never revealed, which I don't care. When I rewatch Stargate Atlantis, I often skip the Ronan-centric episodes. Even the one with Mark Dacascos. It was a couple of episodes, wasn't it? Or just one? I think it was a couple of episodes. Because I just don't find the Satidans, I don't find them interesting whatsoever. Don't know why, I just don't. Anywho, Ronan Dex was originally from the planet Satida until the Wraith attacked his home, killing his lover Melina in the process. After this, but before joining the Atlantis expedition, Ronan became a runner. It's Ronan, isn't it? Not Ronan. Not Ronan Keating. Ronan became a runner, part of a group who were meant to be hunted by the Wraith until they discovered they could do the hunting instead. This would have been an action-packed period in the character's life, and a dramatic action series with a touch of comedy could capture it perfectly. Nah, I said I'm not a Ronan fan. I did like it when Rodney, when he got his superpowers in that episode, he made his scars go away. Because he had all scars on the back of his neck and his back where he tried cutting out the tracker that the Wraith put in him. And anyway. Right, number 1, Vala Maldoran's Misadventures. This will be fun because Claudia Black is awesome. But anyway, and there she is, being awesome. Everybody likes Claudia Black. Although sometimes she's a weird one. She's like Gillian Anderson. Sometimes she looks just like a normal person, and sometimes she looks astonishingly gorgeous. Bit like me. No, not really, but anyway. There she plays it like that. I think she's actually pregnant, wasn't she, in this? This is the one, I think, where she's actually in the Ori galaxy, and she's using a communications device thing, not stones. Well, it is stones. It used stones, didn't it, on the device? So she's in Daniel Jackson's body there, isn't she? But she's pregnant, isn't she? And I think she was pregnant in real life, wasn't she? I think. Anyway, whatever. That's it. She looks good. Oh, and there's Marina Baccarin as her daughter. Good genes, you see. Anyway, right. Introduced in Stargate SG-1 Season 8, Vala Maldoran as one. What does the name mean, I wonder? Has it ever been explained? You know why she's got like the Mal part? You know, it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi sort of thing. You know, anyway, as one of the more bizarre and chaotic backstories in the franchise, she'd been sold as a child to a weapons smuggler, but killed him in order to escape. From there, she was taken by the Goa'uld and turned into a host for Katesh, and eventually freed by the Tok'ra. This was only the beginning of her misfortune. Vala's time with the Stargate's Ori villains was especially interesting, since she wound up giving birth to the Orisai. Marina Baccarin was the Orisai. Adria, she was a baddie. Vala eventually joined up with the SGC, but this was a turn for her character. I think she only became a main character in season 10, didn't she? Anyway, this was a turn for her character. Prior to this, she had been quite a scoundrel. She was always a scoundrel, even when she was a main SG-1 team member. She was still the scoundrel of the team. Anyway, she'd been quite a scoundrel, and this is a significant part of what makes her so perfect for a spin-off. As a morally ambiguous character, Vala had several misadventures, most of which were only briefly discussed in Stargate SG-1. It would have been amazing to see this play out in a new series, since it would have added even further foundation to her established story. Unfortunately, it never came to be. If they did Empress Giorgio in Star Trek a tenth as good as what they did with Vala Maldoran and her character, it'd have been great, but they didn't, and it was rubbish. So, and Vala Maldoran's an amazing character, and yes, a spin-off series about her would be really good. It'd be really good. Although the episode with her dad in it is one I always skip. I hate that episode. Is it Family Ties or something? It's called something like that. But anyway, Vala's amazing. And that's it. That was number 1, wasn't it? So there we go. Which of these would you think would work best? To be honest, I think I'd like to see a Vala Maldoran series. How would you work it though? How would set after, she left the SGC and she's gone back to exploring, getting up to shenanigans after Stargate season 10. Don't know. Yeah, I think that'd be better. Getting up to no good, getting into scrapes, being naughty, because that's what she's good at. Out there in the Milky Way galaxy, and maybe with an occasional jaunt over to Atlantis if it's back in the Pegasus galaxy. Yeah, I'd go for that one. That's why it's number 1 in Angel's list, probably. But yeah, there we go. So that would be my pick, because everybody likes Claudia Black. Right, so even when she were in pitch black, I can't talk about Farscape because I never could get into Farscape, so I can't comment on that. I've tried watching it. I've heard it gets better, but I just can't get past like episode 1 and 2 and that, you know. But there you go. That's by the by. Right, we'll leave it there. There you go. This episode will be early access on Patreon and members only on the other place, YouTube. For I don't know, a week or so, maybe something like that. So there we go. Right, so we'll leave it there. So don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, super thanks, etc. Become a member if you want to watch this earlier than everybody else. Right, so we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say there.